Hello once again, and welcome to the 365 Retirement Podcast with Sam Lang of Rubino Liang Wealth Partners. What do we do here? We talk about retirement, and we talk about some of the fears, some of the confusion, some of the questions that people have about going into this part of their life, which is a lot different than our working years. And Sam Lang of Rubino Liang Wealth Partners is here to help. How are you doing today, Sam?
Oh, doing fantastic. To your point, we've been doing this for over 2 decades. And had a lot of conversations with people that have had a great career, but that's phase one of your life. You go into retirement. It's a different mindset, but two, you need to prepare for retirement differently, and that's really the purpose of this podcast: to educate people, to show people that hey, these are some of the things that you may have already taken care of, but maybe some of the things that you're not aware of, let's talk about those and let's have that discussion.
Well, there's a lot of worries out there, and certainly we hear it all the time, people worried about running out of money. But then you get into I'll use that word, interesting economic times like we have right now. And, you get inflation that went way up and then came down, still kind of an issue for people. You wonder, what's going to happen in an election year. If this is the year that you retire, that market is really in flux right now, and you wonder if this is the right time. And I've got a survey in front of me here from the people at Nationwide said 50% of people, half of people, have either altered or canceled their retirement plans because of the current economic conditions. So if you're canceling
you want that number to be low, not high.
Yes, exactly. So right. Have you seen people who come in with those kind of concerns and say, Sam, I think I can retire. I think I've saved enough money, but is this the right time to retire? Should I hang in there for a little bit longer?
We see people from really all walks of life. Percentage of folks that come in that could have retired long ago, but they continue to work because they enjoy their coworkers, they enjoy what they do, and they're just not quite ready to hang up the hat, right? But then, to your point, we've actually seen people that have made the decision to retire and now look back and they've sort of regretted doing so because they underestimated what retirement might be like. They underestimated how much money they actually need and how much money they're spending. And then they have second thoughts. They're having some regrets. So, sometimes when you say retirement dreams are canceled, maybe they thought about, going away 2 or 3 times a year, and they're now only going away once because that's what they can afford. So you don't want to make that mistake. That's my point. You want to make sure that you're doing all the math, you have all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, and really just have an understanding of where you are. If this were to happen, if inflation was to stay this way, if taxes were to increase, what is my nest egg going to look like? And nobody wants to find out that they have to go back to work at some point, Right. So having that discussion, having that plan, doing the exercise, doing the math, super important.
Yeah, you've told me many times that people who come to you, for the most part, are really good savers. They come to you and they say, Sam, this is what I've done, and it's usually very, very nice. And the fact is that a lot of people will come to you and they've paid off their house, they've paid down their debt, they've saved really well. Even somebody in that situation, I'm hearing, is still unsure and nervous about it. Have you ever had a situation where everything looks really good on paper, but they're still nervous and you're going, you can do this. And they walk out of your office going,
they need you to convince them,
Yeah.
I mean, certain things, Randy, you can control in life, right? You can control what time you wake up. You can control what you do for a living. You can control what you eat for dinner. But then there are other things that you can't control. So 2 of the things that we are concerned about as you get into retirement, one is the stock market volatility. The market's always going to be volatile. You'll have great years, you'll have some okay years, and you'll have some horrible years. So we need to make sure that you have a plan. Not only, when things are great, everything takes care of itself. But sometimes like a 2008 will roll along, or 2022, you need to have a plan to make sure that you can continue to stay in retirement, even if your nest egg goes the wrong direction, right? The second thing I think is important to factor in that we cannot control is inflation. Things will cost more. We know things will cost more intellectually, but have you ever actually put that to paper? If you spend $8,000 a month now, what do you need to spend next year at 3% inflation? Well, it's $8,200 a month. Well, what do you need to spend the year after? Well, it's $8,400 a month. So as you get into retirement, Every day is a Saturday. So if you're spending money, whatever you're spending on, it's going to cost that much more next year. So those two things we can't control, and we want to make sure that we just factor those in. Talking about things that we can control. You don't want to go into retirement just at the wrong time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the market goes down, you got $1 million, you're going to take out 30 or 40 grand, you'll be fine. But if the market corrects and it goes down by 10%, well, guess what? Your accounts just went down by 13, 14, or 15% because you withdrew money as well. So having a good, well-rounded, comprehensive retirement plan that not only includes growing your money. Who doesn't want to grow their money? Who doesn't want to earn a good rate of return? We all do. But having an understanding that you have part of your money in a different sort of strategy in a bucket because you actually need to take out or you need to have X amount of dollars come in every single month to meet your monthly budget, that should not be invested in the same way, right? So having a well-rounded, comprehensive plan is really important in advance of retiring.
When I think about the amount of money that I'll need in retirement, like if you were going to go take a job and the guy on the other side of the table said to you, this is what we're going to pay you, and this is what we're going to pay you for the next 25 years, no raises. I wouldn't want that job.
You wouldn't want that job. Yeah.
That's kind of what you're saying in retirement. If you say, I need $6,000 now, and you think you're going to need $6,000 a month 25 years from now, probably not.
Precisely.
You've got to build in a raise.
Exactly. I mean, think about what a car costs. I mean, think about what a house costs today in the greater Boston area. Starter home is like almost $1 million. Nobody would have ever thought that.
Right.
$1 million, you'd be living in a mansion. Well, no.
Yeah.
If you're just getting married now, I have my daughter just was in a wedding, and her friend literally just bought a starter home for $1.1 million in Bedford, Massachusetts. Crazy, right? So, yeah, you need to take those things into account. Going into retirement, you only do it once. You don't want to have to go back and do it twice. So that can create certainly a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And that, again, back to why it's important to have a plan. We see a lot of people calling from this podcast, what have you. And, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? I don't have a plan. I want to make sure I have a plan. Yeah.
Well, I relate everything to ice cream. So, everything to ice cream. So not long ago, you could buy a half a gallon of ice cream for about $3.50. Now you get a quart of ice cream for $6.50. That's inflation. And that affects
3 years from now, you'll get a popsicle for $10. That's what,
So, I mean, whether or not, you think there's inflation out there or, that doesn't affect me, it's going to get you. It's going to get you. And we need to have a plan for it. It's not only what you need per month today, it's what you need per month 20, 25 years from now. And it's so very important to have that built into your plan. We call it a 365 retirement plan here at Rubino and Liang Wealth Partners. We encourage you to go to our website, Rubino and Liang Wealth, or 365retirement.com, and you can check that out there. We have show notes for you here on this podcast that you can explore. Like and subscribe. If you like what you hear right here, we're going to do it again next week, so make sure you join us. Thanks so much for watching the 365 Retirement Podcast.